Let's go Dolphins! The draft is right around the corner, and the atmosphere behind the scenes at Miami Dolphins HQ is getting intense. There's buzz, speculation, and frustration, because as we know, the Dolphins are desperate to build a team capable of making a deep playoff run, maybe even reaching the Super Bowl. For that to happen, Mike McDaniel needs a stacked roster, and unfortunately, Chris Grier, who honestly should have been fired a while ago, is still the one holding the keys to this crucial 2025 draft. Grier's past drafts haven't exactly earned him trust from fans, so the pressure is sky high. But before we go deeper into this madness, make sure you smash that like button if you've been a Dolphins fan for over 20 years. It's always powerful to see loyal fans standing strong through the highs and lows. If that's you, drop a comment saying, "Go Dolphins! My heart bleeds aqua and orange." Alright, buckle up, because I've got the latest scoop on what's shaping up to be one of the most important draft weekends in recent Dolphins history. With 10 total picks, including some pivotal early round selections at 13, 48, and 98, this draft has the potential to shape the future of the franchise. But the question is, will Grier get it right? Let's start with the 13th overall pick. The fan base is buzzing about cornerback Will Johnson out of Michigan. He's 6 feet 2 inches, fluid in coverage, and looks tailor-made for Anthony Weaver's zone-heavy defensive scheme. There are questions about his man-to-man capabilities, but he's still the top prospect on many Dolphins fans' boards. If he's there at 13 and Grier passes, it's going to be chaos. But then again, when has Grier ever done what makes sense? If Will Johnson isn't available, there's talk of LSU offensive lineman Will Campbell. Now this guy could be a cornerstone at left guard, and he's versatile enough to kick out to tackle. But let's be real, Campbell likely goes to New England at 4 unless they shake things up. If by some miracle he falls, he'd be a home run pick, though it seems Grier is more likely to go safe than swing for the fences. J.D. Barron is another name you need to know. Unlike Johnson, Barron is the definition of versatility. He's lined up at outside corner, nickel, even safety. Think of him as a chess piece for the Dolphins secondary. If Johnson and the O-linemen are gone, Barron should be the pick, period. He brings 4.39 speed and a nose for the football. Not drafting him if available would be another head scratcher. Now, let's talk about the trenches. Kenneth Grant is the guy everyone's whispering about. A monster from Michigan who's got size, a nasty first step, and would pair beautifully with Zach Sealer. But here's the twist. He might be better suited for a trade-down scenario. If the Dolphins move back into the 18 to 21 range, Grant becomes an elite value pick. And speaking of trade-downs, there are 2 big defensive line names to keep in mind if the Dolphins go that route. Derek Harmon from Oregon and Darius Alexander from Toledo. Harmon's power-speed combo is solid, but Grant has the edge in explosiveness. Alexander's ceiling is intriguing, but his small school background might raise flags about his NFL readiness. Let's not forget about safety Malachi Starks. This dude is electric. He plays with the kind of fluidity and instincts you dream of in a modern safety. He's a potential all-pro. And yet, here we are, still unsure if Grier will take the plunge on someone like him. Maybe it's because he still hasn't figured out how to evaluate secondary talent properly. And then there's the wild card, wide receiver Teteroa McMillan. Yes, he's a big body at 6 feet 4 inches, and yes, the Dolphins might need a Tyreek Hill contingency plan with his future in Miami uncertain. But drafting a receiver at 13 feels like a luxury pick when this team is bleeding on both lines and in the secondary. Still, if Tyreek is on the trade block, McMillan might make more sense than we'd like to admit. This situation deserves close monitoring. Jumping into the second round at pick 48, the board will shift dramatically based on what happens at 13. Offensive lineman Donovan Jackson from Ohio State tops the list. If by some miracle he falls to 48, he's got to be the pick. No hesitation. The man's a first-round talent who could start day one. But if it's defense we're talking about, then TJ Sanders out of South Carolina or Darius Alexander are top priorities. Sanders, in particular, offers elite pass rush win rates and fits perfectly into the Dolphins' D-line rotation. Alexander's projection is murkier due to level of competition, but his tape speaks volumes. Miami needs this kind of disruptor badly. And here's where it gets spicy. There are whispers that the Dolphins could double dip at corner, taking someone like Siobhan Revel or Trey Amos even if they go DB at 13. That would be madness. There are far too many holes to use 2 top 50 picks at the same position, even if the need is real.
Safety Xavier Watts and versatile lineman Jonah Savannah are better options in round 2, especially considering how thin Miami's depth is in the trenches, and we haven't even hit round 3 yet. With pick 98, Andrew Mukuba is the standout safety name. If he somehow slips that far, Miami shouldn't even think twice. Just run the card up. Mukuba is a playmaker who could start sooner rather than later. He's that good. But if Mukuba's gone, there's also Shamar Turner on the D-line, or even a developmental offensive lineman like Charles Grant from William & Mary. A bit of a project, sure, but Miami's O-line needs long-term solutions, not just stopgaps. And Marcus Mbao, that's someone the Dolphins met with at the Combine. Could he be the hidden gem at guard they're hoping for? So here we are, standing at the edge of another critical draft. With 10 picks, including 5 across the first 3 rounds, this could be the year Miami truly builds a contender. Or it could be another year of what-ifs, thanks to a GM who somehow still has a job despite failing to build consistent depth year after year. Now I've got to ask you, what would you do with that 13th pick? Would you play it safe or go bold? Should Miami trade down and stack picks or stand their ground for a potential star? Because here's the thing, this draft isn't just about who Miami can get. It's about what this front office is willing to do. And that's where the frustration really boils over for Dolphins fans. Chris Grier's history has been filled with safe picks, questionable trades, and a lack of aggression when it matters most. So, as we approach the 13th pick, all eyes are on whether this franchise will finally shift gears or fall back into old habits. Let's say Grier surprises us and takes someone like Will Johnson. That would be the kind of foundational move Miami needs. But what happens next? That's where it gets dicey. There's been talk about double-dipping at DB, but doubling up on corners or safeties in the top 3 rounds would be a massive strategic error. This roster desperately needs help in the trenches, on both sides of the ball. If Miami lands a top corner at 13, round 2 must be trenches. No questions asked. That's where names like TJ Sanders, Darius Alexander, or even Jonah Savannah come in. Those guys can anchor a line for years, and Miami doesn't have the luxury of waiting for depth to develop anymore. It's win-now time. McDaniel can't afford to keep getting out-muscled in the trenches while the front office plays it cute with versatility projects like they've done in the past. And we have to talk about offensive line again, because it's that serious. Jackson, Banks, Campbell, these are guys who could protect Tua and finally give him the time he needs to operate. But if those guys are off the board, Grier cannot just reach for another developmental lineman like he's done with Eichenberg and Austin Jackson in the past. That's why someone like Charles Grant or Marcus Mbao in round 3 is only acceptable if you've already nailed a real day 1 starter early. Otherwise, you're just spinning wheels. Back to defense for a second. What if none of the top names fall to Miami at 48? What's the backup plan? It better not be reaching for a depth corner or a traits guy who needs 3 years to develop. This defense is aging fast, and while Anthony Weaver brings new energy and scheme flexibility, he needs players who can contribute immediately. Kenneth Grant, Harmon, or even someone like Alfred Collins could be game changers if Miami plays their cards right.